Welcome everyone. Mid-Murray Council would like to acknowledge and pay respect to the traditional custodians of the land, the Ngadjuri, Nawong, Ngaraku, Ngarmaka, Ngarrindjeri and Parramatta peoples of the Mid-Murray lands and waters. It is upon their ancestral lands and waters that the Mid-Murray Council meets and operates, and Council pays respect to elders, past and present, and their spiritual beliefs that are of continuing importance to those First Nations peoples of today. Council further acknowledges the contributions and important role that First Nations people continue to play within the community, and we extend that respect to any peoples in attendance here today. And welcome to the gallery. We have gallery today, which is exciting. So I'll read out some emergency procedures. Should there be a fire or other emergency, the alarm will sound and you'll be asked to follow direction of the council staff. Council meetings are live streamed through the Mid-Murray Council website. Attendance and participation in the council meetings does not provide any councillors, council employees or member of the public protection from defamation in relation to behaviour or statements made. Individual opinions or statements made during council meetings are not opinions or statements of council. A copy of today's agenda is available on the council's website. Use of microphone system. Members are reminded that if they intend to move, second, speak or ask a question during the meeting, they need to clearly indicate their intention to speak by using the microphone system. It is important that members use their microphones appropriately so that those at home can hear clearly. Mobile phones. Members are reminded that the use of mobile phones during the meeting is not permitted, and I'll ask you to turn your phones off or on to silent. We welcome visitors to the gallery and we ask them to observe the meeting in a respectful silence as the chamber deliberates on matters that relate to Mid-Murray Council. Council meetings are formal meetings that are subject to specific meeting procedures. This means they are designated sections of the meeting, i.e. deputations where members of the public can directly interact in the meeting, with the remainder of the meeting providing the public an opportunity to listen or meeting proceedings in a separate role. Attendance. So it'll say around here we haven't had any apologies, so Councillor Helen might come. Confirmation of minutes, that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 17th of June 2025 be taken as read and confirmed. Councillor Fowler, thank you. Councillor Davis, thank you. Anybody have any feedback or comments? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour, and again, that is carried. Declaration of interest. We'll just go around the room.
No. I do. Just let me turn this on. Oh. Sorry, I was on. I will declare a material conflict of interest for item 10.3.
Thank you. Business adjourns nil and deputations. We have Dale to speak in support of the extension on the draft river structures asset management plan.
Straight off the bat, thank you. Thank you. Thanks everyone. Just wanted to, I know I've got 5 minutes, it might be 7, so please bear with me. It is a fairly passionate sort of subject for our town, so we want to get our point across and really hope that we can work with council on a better outcome than we're currently working with now. It's a little bit of a narrative, so just go with me for the ride, and then I'll put up with whatever questions at the end. Blanchetown's home to many residents, businesses and shack owners, with over 200 shack owners along the riverbanks estates below Lock 1. It's been a family home where we spend all our weekends and holidays for over 22 years and keep our family connected. That's what the river lifestyle is. It's where our kids have grown up and enjoyed a healthy and outdoor lifestyle on and around the river and become entrenched members of this local community. Blanchetown has all the facilities in place to support both day trippers and those wishing to spend longer stays in the region, making it a desirable location that is supported and endorsed by the South Australian Boating Facilities Strategic Plan and SABFAC, where the investment is jointly funded by council for priority assets and upgrades. This community has been lobbying with council for an improved boat ramp facility since 2012. We've been long ignored, and as of today, no commitment or investment has been committed to the upgrading of the Blanchetown McPhee boat ramp. This location serves many local and transient community river users who wish to use for the purpose of leading a healthy and active lifestyle, which is encouraged by the government and the councils. And serves to support the health and well-being of the community users wishing to access the river below level. Post-flood in 2022, the town suffered economic hardship with homes, shacks and businesses devastated by the extreme high flood levels along the river, as did many other towns. We have seen the caravan park closed for almost 3 years, shops and local businesses trading hours reduced or closed, linked to the direct reduction in people visiting the town of Blountstown, mostly for the purpose of enjoying access to the river for recreational and commercial fishing purposes. The McPhee boat ramp is a significant asset to the town and for those wanting to access the river below level. Prior to the flood, and despite its poor standard, the boat ramp was highly used asset for the purpose of launching and retrieving boats and watercraft on and off their trailers. As a riverside community, one of the main attractions for people to either reside, operate businesses, or have built their holiday homes in Blountstown is due to the river and the easy access for recreational and fishing purposes, drawing people to our town. We are pleased to be advised that the caravan park is being sold and soon to be recommissioned. And a meeting with the new owner has been set down in a few weeks' time to talk and discuss this particular matter, who they're obviously very keen to understand, to want to attract more people to the caravan park. As a community, we have met our obligations, both to local council and state government, for costs associated with rates and services, which are a responsibility of relevant departments to maintain critical assets. This includes levies paid by boat owners through registrations, which are for the purpose of SAPFAC, to allocate upon council requests for funding and critical assets. I note council and the Department of Infrastructure and Transport have responded to my recent written request on the 16th of June to both the Mayor and to the Minister of Infrastructure and Transport. Whilst pleasingly it is acknowledged the condition of the boat ramp does not meet the standards regulated by the South Australian boating facilities and it's substandard degraded in condition for the safe and purposeful use, it remains council's responsibility to ensure this asset has a much quicker timeline for replacement than that outlined in the River Structures Asset Management Plan. The Department of Infrastructure and Transport have advised in their written response and acknowledged that it is council's asset and the responsibility for the upgrade, but we've left the door open for council to submit funding requests to SAPFAC, which would be assessed on merit for funding approval, and I'm happy to provide that response from the government. We also acknowledge council are seeking commitment from Jews for the full funding of the McPhee boat ramp, and it is understood initial funds have been secured for engineering specifications and design for these new upgrades. And we trust that this will be fast-tracked to avoid delays in the process of construction based on council securing earlier funding provisions for the boat ramp upgrade. We trust this council understands the urgency of this matter and will commit to the effort and the work collaboratively with the state government and local community to pull levers needed that will expedite this matter and realise a much quicker timeframe for the Blountstown fee upgrade. As a community, there is much interest and some angst in the proposed timelines provided by council. We will continue our efforts to ensure the urgency is understood and that council commit to time and effort in meeting our objectives to upgrade the McPhee boat ramp and any other associated projects in a timeline that meets community expectations. That's really all I've got to say. I do want to, and I do acknowledge that council have financial constraints and that those things are impediments in terms of what they can invest in. This is not a cost investment. This is an investment in something that's really good for the community and there's economic viability. So we want really council to look at this differently, not just as a straight out cost, which in one of the meetings that I recently listened to, it seemed to be dismissed really quickly because it was just a cost item and it can get pushed back in the queue. We've been doing this for 12 years and we really need this outcome to be expedited and really see that the opportunity for the vibrancy of our town to be lifted in. That's all I'm going to say. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Thanks, Dale. If I could respond, you said that council made no commitment, but you then acknowledged that we have made a commitment. And I know that the whole chamber understands the urgency. And I think if we could do it tomorrow, we would do it tomorrow, but it is that financial sustainability piece. And finding $500,000 minimum means 5% or, 2.5%, 3% rate rise for everyone. And if we did that for every community, so we're really pushing, we're big on advocacy and we've had some wins with some grants and things, so we'll continue to push that as fast as we can. But it is up to council to determine if they want to, change ways, so council can do that. Does anyone have any questions for that?
Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
The only thing I would say to that is that council's made 2 submissions for funding in the period since 2012, one in 2012 and then one post the flood. I don't consider that to be working in the best interest of the town. I think, to be brutally honest, and this is not to this council, it's to anyone that's worked in the council over that longevity of time. I feel that's a bit lazy because I think that's just lost the interest of our town and the understanding. We've lobbied hard for that to be really considered strongly. So if that's the only times we've made a request for funding from governments, I mean, in their view, they're looking at it and going, well, if they're only asking every 5 or 10 years, how urgent is it? So I'm not sure it's actually reaching the people that are actually delivering the funding. I don't think they're getting the urgency of it as well. And our town needs this. It's not just something we want. It's something that actually is really important to bringing the people back to the town to create a vibrant, economic, sustainable lifestyle within the town again. Businesses are impacted. They need to be supported.
Yeah, thank you. And it isn't the funding, it's the other part that we need the investment for. And we'd be happy to talk to the caravan park if, I don't know who the new owners are, if they're happy to invest. I'm sure we will.
I think they've already invested, so I don't know if they're going to invest anymore. They're looking for support as well.
So that's the kind of things that we have to do. I mean, just for our football club lights, we have to talk to other partners, and so the council didn't invest anything into that project. So we're happy to do that kind of work, and council will continue with that. If no one has any questions, thank you very much for attending. And like I said, you can stay for the meeting and listen on, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, petitions, we have Neil. Item 9.1, monthly financial report June 2025. The recommendation is that the monthly financial report June 2025 on the council agenda, 15th of July 2025, be received. You have a reader. Councillor Peak, thank you. Councillor Warhurst, thank you for seconding. Councillor Peak, would you like to speak on that?
Thank you. This is just a just a comment about the rate arrears. That, I'm sure we all feel it's very disappointing that we've reached this point where we're, despite all efforts, there are still several property owners who are simply not responding and recognising those obligations to the rest of the ratepayers as well. So just disappointing to find ourselves in this position.
Thank you. Councillor Warhurst, would you like to speak? No, anyone else wish to speak? Councillor
First, the rate arrears graph, thanks for replacing the yellow. I couldn't read, and it gives the amounts as well. But I did find that the increasing number of rate defaulters, that's pretty alarming. And I'm just wondering whether part of that is an impact, aside from drought and cost of living and flood. I just wonder whether the CPI catch-up component of the rate rise has been part of the cause of that increase in rate debtors.
Be interesting, no.
Through the Mayor, we wouldn't be able to answer what the reasons are. It's obviously concerning, and we'll continue to do work. Obviously, we've got a hardship policy, and we are open to having conversations to make sure that people can pay their rates. We'll continue that.
Councillor Brigham.
Just through the mayor, my concern too are on the increase in the rate arrears, and that over that 3 million mark sort of really scares me. And I just wanted, it's not solely about the unpaid rates, but it's just really about acknowledging that some of our residents do face some really impossible choices at present. more than ever, I believe. You know, in between paying for food, medicine, heating and council rates, which one is to give, you know, so council rates will sort of come on the back burner. You know, and I don't think it's a matter of not for some, not paying it because they don't want to pay council rates, you know, state rates. But I think sort of some may be a little bit overwhelmed or ashamed to ask for help. And we have those hardship policies, but sometimes when we reach, like with the review that we've done, as we've reached out, we've put things in place. So as debt gets further behind for homes, you lose that ability to reach out. And so it just sort of compounds. That's just my sort of belief. And yeah, just, you know, what can we do? It's my question. What can we do?
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak on that item or have any questions or comments? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. 9.2 CWMS Annual Business Plan 2025-26 submission. The recommendation is that the CWMS Annual Business Plan 25-26 submission report on a council agenda of 15 July 2025 be received. With the leader, Councillor Lyons, thank you. Have the seconder, Councillor Barber. Councillor Lyons, do you wish to speak? No. No, Councillor Barber.
Reading through these submissions, there was obviously certain areas that weren't happy with the restructuring of the payments. But you know, as we've been saying all along, it's a user pay system, and council can't keep it all the chat for it. So, unfortunately, it is.
Thank you.
Through Mayor Bailey, just highlight that obviously we had a briefing on the submissions. We've met with some of the stakeholders as well. In the following two reports, we've considered that feedback and subject to the conversation the council had, their consideration today, have suggested about deferring the depreciation / annuity / sinking fund conversation around the swims while Clive and his team do some further work over the next 12 months. So that's as a result of the feedback that we received. The forecast attribution component is still proposed to be implemented and phased in over 5 years, Clive. So just to highlight that. We also provided a response to each of those issues yesterday, which we will then forward that back to those in 38 submissions.
Which was a good lot of feedback. Any further questions or anyone want to speak on that item?
Just probably the other comment is that I think the feedback through Mayor Bailey highlighted there's a misunderstanding around that the user pay and those systems or schemes are, you know, we manage them on behalf of the shack associations, and all of the funds that they're ring fenced, and the costs associated with that maintenance is covered by those individual members of that scheme.
Yeah, I'd love for us to do some work, and I am meeting with the LGA at the end of the month to discuss what we can do to really promote what a great things are throughout the communities. And you know, if we don't have SA Water coming and step into these regions, we don't have that sort of service. And when you look at some of the charges that we cost, it's a lot cheaper than SA Water. So I think, considering, you know, some of our schemes are very small, I think we're doing quite a good job keeping those costs low. So we'll do better on hopefully promoting that side of things. Anybody else wish to speak on that item? Any questions or comments? I'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And again, that is carried. Thank you. And thank you, Clive, for all the work you've done on that. And thank you in advance for all the work that you're going to do to come up with a great option that everyone will be very excited about paying to.
Including me.
9.3. The recommendation is the adoption of the long-term financial plan 25-26 to 2034-35 report on the council's agenda for the 15th of July be received in exercise of the power contained in section 122 of the Local Government Act 1999 and regulation 5 of the Local Government Financial Management Regulations 2011, having considered all submissions in accordance with section 122(1AA) of the Local Government Act and the long-term financial plan 25-26 2035, 2034, 35 be adopted. Do we have a mover? Anyone wish to move that item? Do we wish to have a short-term suspension of proceedings to discuss the item? Just hands up if you're okay for a 5-minute short-term suspension. Yes, okay. Who would like to start? What can we do to make you move this? Councillor Schultz.
Well, my first,
What's your microphone, Councillor?
I don't believe you said it. My first reaction to this was, can the rate rise to the existing properties have been reduced more by decreasing the sustainability ratio? And to do that, it would probably have an impact on the number of rate defaulters as well, because if you're pricing it up here and people can only afford that, then you're going to have more rate defaulters. If you keep your existing percentage increase down, but for existing properties, then I'm sure that will help in managing the big spike of rate arrears.
Well, then,
As we can, obviously council can make a decision. We did all our modelling on what was proposed, being 4.84% average rate increase. We threw a decrease in CPI by 0.1%, and also some additional growth and some savings identified through the budget process. What's being proposed is a 4.34% rate increase, so a reduction of 0.4 there. We undertook community consultation as required when we received 2 positions of feedback on that. Our driver, as being directed by council, is long-term financial sustainability of the business. As through our budget workshops, we've presented a balanced approach to try to ensure that we continue to deliver that, being very cognizant of the cost of living and the challenges that are faced. And as you point out, Councillor Schultz, the spike in rate arrears is concerning. And so we feel this is a balanced thing. We can make changes. Obviously, that will have an impact on what happens from a long-term financial sustainability perspective, which we can make changes in the future. And what Clive has presented is a percentage increase across the 2 years. Any changes to this year will potentially impact next year, subject to savings and the budget process going forward. So to answer your question, we can make changes. That was subject to what council are thinking, balancing that the affordability and the ability of the community to pay, given the current operating environment, and our focus on long-term financial sustainability as well. Bob, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, just to say, going back in our previous long-term financial plan, which was adopted a year ago, we were looking at existing rate pay increases of 6.83% for the 2 rolling years going forward. We've recognised that there was a bit of the economic issues that we've had. So not only adjusting the CPI down by a minor amount, but also shaving off a 0.5% on the existing rate payers. So so basically we've gone from 12 months ago looking at 6.83 now to 4.34 for existing rate payers, which is a very good outcome. And look, council will continue to look at that and try and chip down the increases that we have in the future. But any changes that we have will impact the sustainability of that target in the following year in 2026-27. So it's we've the management have brought a recommendation to in the agenda. That is our recommendation, but it's to the discretion of the elected members if they would like to reduce that amount for existing rate payers at this meeting. Yeah.
Clive, Sorry, I pressed the wrong.
That's good, that's good.
No, it comes on when I lift my finger up.
So you'd be present.
Must have need to hit it.
We had a chat yesterday, and I asked about what a 0.5 percent decrease would mean to the budget, and it's $90,000. So if we can find 90,000 of ongoing savings, is it correct that that won't change our long-term financial sustainability plan?
Yeah, as part of the exercise and discussion yesterday, a review was looked at a number of items, and we can assure that that savings of approximately, I think the calculation is about 86.5, could be found. So if council would rather look at reducing existing property increases by, instead of the 4.34, and adjust it by another 0.5%, making the adjustment 1% reduction, then that would bring existing ratepayers increases to 3.84.
Now, out of 5 minutes, do we want 5 more minutes?
Yeah.
Yes, nod heads, yes. Councillor Barlow.
Yeah, just on, sorry, through the mayor, just on the rates. We, as a council, we decided a couple of years ago not to postpone any CPI increases, so there wasn't a build-up. It was agreed that that would be caught up each year, because there was an instance in that first year where there was a 3% catch up on CPI that were going to be part of the rates. And also, I have heard on the radio recently that a couple of sort of adjoining councils, Corinda, have gone against their ESCO's recommendation, go below what they recommended. They did 3.8%. I think their recommendation was they do like 4.5% on their rates. But Coringa Renmark Council are putting the rates up by 11% this year. So I think that if we can find that extra 0.5%, like you're talking, fantastic. But I think on the scheme of things, we're still doing relatively okay.
When?
Through the mayor, just to make a positive point, these predicted costs across the 10 years are currently not, there's no offset for potential divestment of property that will, improve our financial position. So that's still to be built in, hopefully making a difference. With the long-term financial plan last year, at the 10-year period, last year and this year, am I correct in saying that last year's long-term financial plan had about by year 10 had about between 3 and 4 million loans, and now this time it's higher at the 10-year period? Can you just comment on that for me? How that happens, being not a financial person?
What I've done is there's two factors in. We've reduced the amount of money that we get from CWMS, so those increases. So and what I've done is also reduce the maximum amount of loans that we've got. So what I've done is stretch the borrowings over a long period of time, and that will probably and that means also by doing that, I've actually stretched out some of the capital renewal as well. And personally, I don't think that's an issue, because I think that's to do with capacity as well. I had some very big lumps of capital works in there, as far as not only building renewals, but also in capital works as well. So yeah, I think the long-term financial plan, which is going to council, has basically lost a bit of its income, but I've tried to manage the plan a little bit longer over a period of time. And look, I wouldn't. I think the borrowing amount for the amount of income that council will generate or has generated at the current rate is not an issue at all. So I'm quite comfortable with that adjustment. I think it's probably more a realistic figure.
So through Mayor Bailey, it's smoothed out across the 10 years rather than some spikes in there between that to adjust for circumstances. So I think it's fair to say, and Mayor Bailey would support this, it's a very healthy position, considering where we've been. My comment is we've got to continue to do that, make sure that we are that long-term one funding. And the only other comment, if, the council wants us to consider, the 0.5% reduction, that has to be an annual saving, can't just be a one-off. But if we can find, for example, $86,500, well, we need to do that every year to maintain the same position. So it's not just a find in 1 year.
Or find other savings in the next, like our building.
Correct,
divestment and things like that.
Yeah, identify other
Other
savings. And I think it's fair to say council's taken that approach where we were going to split across the 6.84 Clive, or whatever the figure was, ish. And we've identified savings, and so that reduced it because this year now it's only 4.34 at the moment. And we'll continue to do that, to try to reduce that.
Councillor Miles.
So you're talking about 0.5% for 86,000 or whatever it was. So this year, what items are you looking at?
As in savings.
Yeah,
Oh, we would review that. If I want to comment, we've worked through the budget, and discussed.
oh, I
that.
thought you already had.
We've identified some opportunities.
Yeah.
But we would need to have further conversations with individual staff, directors and staff on what that looks like. And again, what impact that will have on strategic objectives or priorities across the business. So we don't have any specific thing.
Can I ask again 5 more minutes? If show of hands or shake of nod of head if you want 5 more minutes. Councillor McGregor.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why I didn't move or second it to begin with was that's a dilemma of, our ratepayers' capacity to pay, which I've already sort of talked about, but also looking at, if there's a potential that there could be some savings, and having a look at one of the attachments that's in the annual business plan. So the attachment 3, which is a financial brought by some function, and just having a brief look at that. Previously, I think that we received that in a briefing to have a bit of a discussion about it, so we can sort of have a little bit of a look and sort of see with many eyes where things are and understand the importance of the amounts in there. So, and I don't think that we've had that opportunity. And so, when I've gone through and just sort of picked out a few little bits and pieces, but so I believe that we possibly can have some savings. So, I would sort of be supportive if we can drop it down by the 0.5%, would meet the needs of a whole lot of the things.
So Clive, if we want to do that, what do we do about this motion?
Yeah, just through the chair, we probably for procedural, it's probably just better to adopt the long-term financial plan, and then when we go to the adoption of the rates, we can actually make that alteration, and we can say that any alterations and ramifications of that amendment can be passed and put through to the long-term financial plan. So you can pass the motion, these motions on the long-term financial plan as it is, but when we come to the annual business plan, we will say that an amendment will be required of a reduction of rates and also savings, which will be identified by the CEO, and retrospectively that the long-term financial plan have alterations which are related to that. Yeah.
Just through, sorry. I just respond to Councillor Gregor. We have briefed on a number of occasions over the journey since we've done this. We presented all the feedback from the public consultation at the June council meeting, which was based on the 4.84%. We've not received any feedback from elected members to have any consideration of changes.
It was the budget line that Councillor McGregor's talking
Yeah,
about. That
I
part.
understand, but my comment is that we would have done further briefings if there was a conversation around potential changes. But given that there wasn't, we've obviously presented what we've briefed across the whole time. Noting your point around the functions.
We asked for next year, we brief on that budget line a couple of
Yeah.
years.
Because that part in the annual business plan, so that document, that all those list of items, we have, so thank you. Well, you know, until it came out in this agenda, you know, and there's no time to break between the agenda coming out and now, you know, so, yeah, you know, when I sort of look through, and I haven't had time to have a look through everything, I've just picked out a few bits and pieces, and I think everybody possibly would to see different things that are sort of priority, but I just, yeah, that's all I'm sort of saying, is not that it was a deliberate thing, but it would just be good to have an opportunity to do that.
And even just for understanding the point that's like in chats yesterday where people didn't understand what he's flying then. And I know because I used to be the accountant, so I know what all the acronyms are. Anyone else, Councillor Schultz?
Yeah.
1 minute.
Okay, quick, just to stop this situation happening again, where where no one moves or seconds the long-term financial plan. In years past, we used to have the annual business plan and budget before the long-term financial plan, so that this situation wouldn't happen because we'd sorted out in the annual business plan. And then
We did have advice on that last year or the year before that.
but is there anything in the Local Government Act that says that the long-term financial plan must be dealt with before the annual business plan and budget?
Through Mayor Bailey, I'll take on notice. I think we provided advice on it previously. It's to make sure that we're thinking strategically. So council sets the long-term financial plan over 10 years, and then the annual business plan is year one of that. So it makes sense in my mind is you think big picture, and then you deliver a budget that delivers that in year one as the second element. But we can respond and provide advice on why we've done that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been done in the past, so why it must be possible. But I mean, if you're saying, I'll think the big picture first, but you know, that's fair enough if the financial situation is good. But if it's like it is now for people as well, we need to think of the short term so that the long term sort of looks after itself better. If, as I said, if you're going to raise rate beyond the capability of the ratepayers to pay, well, that's going to defeat the whole purpose of the long-term financial plan.
Okay, about 5 minutes are up. Does everyone feel like they've got enough information to go into the back end meeting? That looks like a mostly yes. Okay, so we'll go back in. I have read the recommendation. Would anyone like to move that? Councillor Tochick and Pete, thank you. Anybody like to second that? Councillor Davis, thank you. Councillor Tochick and Pete, would you like to speak on that? No. Councillor Davis, no. Anybody? Yes.
Sorry, Mayor Bailey, the long-term financial plan can be changed any time. So if the council makes a decision in the next item, but we also could do it next month, or so it's not just when you vote in long-term plan, it's a moment in time, so that can be modified. Consultation slide.
So in actual fact, every time the council passes a quarterly budget review, I have that the long-term financial plan in the background. So, but it's not the official, obviously adopted one. There's no issues with reviewing the long-term financial plan at any stage. If there is very material changes to it, then public consultation would be required. Yep.
Thank you. Anybody else who should speak on that item or have any questions? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And again, that is carried. Thank you. Nine point four. The adoption of 25-26 annual business plan of budget and declaration of rates report on the council agenda is to be received for recommendation in exercise of the power contained in section 123 of the Local Government Act 1999 and regulation 6 of the Local Government Financial Management Regulations 2011, having considered all submissions received during public consultation in accordance with section 1236 of the Local Government Act and Council's public consultation policy in respect to financial year ending 30 June 2026. Council adopts 25-26 annual business plan for the 25-26 financial year ending in 30 June 2026 and set out in attachment 1 to this report, and the CEO is authorised to make amendments to the document and prepare it for final publication. We have a mover for that.
Sorry, Mayor Bailey. If council is considering to make the changes suggested around the 0.5, then we have some alternative wording, just in case that was going to happen. We prepared it. And so I thought it'd be prudent before you
That's what we're reading.
move it, that we consider this.
So, a slight change. So items in red with the following amendment being a reduction of the general rates, revenue and operating expenditure by 86,500 and the appropriate changes made to the 25-26 annual business plan and long-term financial plan, 25-26, 2035, and be delegated to identify and reduce operating expenditure budget items by 86,500 to offset the reduction in income.
So that, just to clarify, that replaces the 2 dot points.
So whoever moves, tell me which one you would like to move. I would like to move something. Councillor Touching McPeak, which one would you like to move?
I would like to move the the motion with the amendments.
Would you like to speak on it while you're there? Perfect. Second, we got second, Councillor McGregor. Thank you. We can speak on it.
Yeah, I will, just through the mayor, just wondering if it is possible at some stage to just have a little bit of a briefing from Clive on the within the annual business plan, the account list by function report and the more to do with the shoulds and the full cost attribution. So I know that sort of is a work, there's many parts to that, many working parts, and yeah, just to understand that a little bit better. Yeah, just at some stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak or have any questions? Councillor Lyons.
I'll just make a point, I'm comfortable with the motion and the 0.5, but I'm not totally comfortable with not knowing how that's going to be achieved today. It's just my comments.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Feedback, wish to speak, Councillor Locust. Sorry.
I just have a little bit of feedback. I agree with Councillor McGregor. I'd like to sort of see that attachment 3, the line by line sort of explained a bit, because it took me a fair bit of understanding to go through it. And I also did not review every single line because it was a lot. So I would, like to sort of work through that maybe next year as well, that we outline that needs to be included in a briefing so that we can go through that at the start of this process as well. That's all.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments?
Just to clarify, the rate increase for existing properties is now 3.84%, correct?
Yes.
So the 0.5 reduction will be a equate to it on average.
Yeah.
For existing properties,
Thank you.
3.84. Obviously, you have to specify that the actual increase will vary depending on valuation changes and individual property values, etc. But that is on average.
Yeah, no, thanks. I just wanted to double check that one.
And because of the extra growth, the total rate
Yeah.
income will increase by 5.27% this year. Any further questions or comments? Anyone wish to speak? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And again, that's carried. Thank you. And then we have a lot of other recommendations. And I will take them as read. So the first one is the adoption of the 25-26
There's changes.
I'll just read out the red bits.
Yeah, just
This is why Carol needed her computer working today. Thank you, Carol. Sorry for so much.
All these changes are going to be read as a result of the decision by council to reduce it by 0.5. So.
Just don't mind if you want anything different, you do have to go and speak to Clive the day before at least. Preferably the day the agenda comes out, but it did take me a long time. 1,162. So we've just got a slight change here with the following amendment being a reduction in general rates revenue and operating expenditure of 86,500 and the appropriate changes being made to the 25-26 budget and long-term financial plan. Do we have a mover for that? Councillor Gregor, thank you. A seconder. Councillor Barber, thank you. Do you wish to speak on this? No. No. Anybody else wish to speak or have questions? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that's carried. Adoption of valuations of land for the purpose of rating. So that will stay the same.
So there's just been a change in the valuation, which was updated yesterday. So this has got nothing to do with the discussion this morning. This was just updated feedback that we received. So those dollars have been changed and increases, Clive, from memory.
Correct, yeah, they've got probably at $1.8 million. And then just as everything with budget was a little bit complex, we've had a couple of people give their forms for single farming enterprise, which reduces their overall rates. So basically that has contributed that out. Yeah.
Excellent. A little bit more green. Could I have someone move that item with the items in red? 4,801,572,600, 4,671,547,996. Councillor thank you. So close. I'll watch the next.
That's fine.
Does anyone wish to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Attribution of land use. No change. Thank you. Anyone wish to move that? Councillor Myers, thank you. Councillor Barber, thank you. Have we got anyone want to speak on that? No. All those in favour? Against, that is carried. Declaration of general rates, this will change slightly. So good. So the rate in the dollar will now be 0.3775 instead of. And for primary production. It will be 0.3398 instead of 0.3415. We have a mover. Councillor Barber, Councillor Davis, thank you. Does anyone wish to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Declaration of minimum rates. Is that staying the same?
That should be, quick amendment, that should be now $1,026.
Thank you. So somebody wish to move that our minimum rate is 1,026. Thank you, Councillor Myers. Councillor Barber is seconding that. Does anyone wish to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. General rate cap. That will stay the same. Anybody wish to move that item? Councillor Schultz, Councillor Gregor, does anyone wish to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Declaration of separate rates, regional landscape levy. My favourite thing in the world. Someone wish to move that item. Councillor Pete, thank you. Stephanie. Councillor Barber, thank you. Does anyone wish to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour, against, that is carried. Declaration of separate rates for waters. So we have a mover, Councillor Myers, Councillor Davis. Thank you. Oh, sorry, there's a slight change.
Yeah, just through the chair, we've got the policy instead of the map. So the policy, the map is contained within the policy, so the wording was just changed. So you can have a look at the whole policy instead, yeah.
And Clive is the mover and seconder, okay with that? Yes, perfect. Does anyone wish to speak on that item? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Declaration of service rates and service charges, community wastewater management system. No changes to that.
Through Mayor Bailey, that just reflects the changes to the annuity depreciation sinking fund being referred and the full cost attribution.
So slightly less than what we meant consultation without the depreciation.
So just through the chair, with the public consultation, the average increase was going to be about $100. Sorry, $200. So what we've done now is we phased in the full cost attribution. The first component is $39 per connection. And then in recognition of an extra member of the CWMS crew and some substantial equipment being purchased, $61 has been added onto that. So what I've done is just added $100 onto all connections except for Quira and Truro, because they're recovering full depreciation at the moment. So I've only actually increased them by $20. So while I haven't taken into account the fund balances, we're still into that phase of a whole lot of debt as far as, or a whole lot of expenses as far as the flood's gone through the last 2 years. And in the next 12 months, all the insurance claims will be settled, and all the disaster recovery money that we can recover from CWMS will go back into those accounts. And then at that stage, we'll have a balance that we can actually depend on.
Thank you very much.
There'll be a credit to those accounts whether we get reimbursed from insurance and all fund.
Yep, the expenses for the flood went to each scheme, and so as we get reimburses, the credit will go back into those as well.
Nightmare for a council with 28 wind systems. Good job, crew. Would anyone move that item? Thank you, councillor Barber, seconding. Councillor Schultz, thank you. Anyone wish to speak on that item? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? Against, that is carried. Declaration of service charges, Brohill multi-access television transmission service. Who would like to move that item? Councillor Myers, thank you. Councillor Barber, thank you. Would anyone like to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? Against, that is carried. Declaration of charges, Brohill reticulated water supply system. Who would like to move that? Councillor Barber, thank you. Councillor Pink, seconding that. Anyone wish to speak on that? Councillor Barber.
Through the mayor, just a comment that where I am at Young Huston, we have our water scheme is managed by the community, and in comparison, our water scheme is actually quite a bit cheaper because we don't have any paid staff. So volunteers that run it. So just something for communities to consider down the track. It'll be a lot cheaper for them if it's by the community.
Very interesting comment, thank you. Anybody else wish to speak on that item? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Declaration of service charges, township waste collection. So annual service charge of $340, you can get both tins. Do we have a mover for that item? Councillor Barber, thank you, and a seconder. Councillor McGregor, thank you. Does anyone wish to speak on that item? Councillor Myers.
What if you only get one bin?
That's next. Non-township.
Oh, no.
Anyone else wish to speak on this one? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? Against, that is carried. Declaration of service charges, rural, non-township.
I'll move it.
Councillor Myers is moving, so $243, seconding. Councillor Davis, thank you. Anybody wish to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Rate rebates. Who would like to move that? Councillor Fudge, Councillor Walker. Anyone wish to speak on that item? Feeling for Carol, she wishes we all had shorter last names. If no one wishes to speak, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. Rebate of rates, general cap, so at 20% general cap. Who would like to move that item? Councillor Gregor, Councillor Myers, do you wish to speak on that item? Anybody else wish to speak? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. Rebate of rates for primary production. Who would like to read that up? Councillor Schultz, as expected. Councillor Barber, thank you for seconding. Anyone wish to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. Rebate of rates for Wira Community Wastewater Management System capital contribution. We got a mover for that. Councillor Barber, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Davis, thank you. Does anyone wish to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. Payment of rates being 5th day of September, December, and June, and the 6th day of March. Have we got a mover? Councillor Warhurst, thank you. A seconder, Councillor Myers, all close, thank you. Anyone wish to speak on that? I'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. And last but not least, the recommendation of the rating policy. The council's reviewed rating policy to be endorsed.
So you want to read that one?
Yeah. Why not? I can go back and read the others. Who is moving that one, rating policy? Councillor Davis, thank you. Councillor Barber is seconding that. Does anybody wish to speak on that item? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? Yeah. I did have something here that's going to make comments. On page 198, in plus of 4, it does say council can, if it chooses, request alterations to the rating policy at any time. There's been a little discussion in the past, and yesterday we met with some shack owners. There was a bit of discussion about how we rate. They've got some issues, and they thought that, you know, classifying, say, Airbnbs as commercial would stop some of their issues. But unfortunately, because we rate the same for all of our areas, it wouldn't actually change anything. So be interested in hearing from council if you wish to look at that. A few examples is vacant land. Say over in Murray Bridge, they charge 150% of the rate for vacant land. And that stops people just holding on to land, and then we might get that growth, which means less rates for the general ratepayer because you've got the growth. And the other thing they do, I think they charge 140% for commercial, and then those Airbnbs would have that extra thing if you do that in a policy as well. And we're going to do that in South Australia, not sure just yet. But it would be interesting to hear from council whether we have a briefing, whether we want to look at some of those changes. It's been a little while since we've looked at that. So, if you want to add anything?
No, I just think if the council has an appetite for having a look at that, then we'll do a briefing.
Yeah, yes, I think that's a briefing, but we're not nods or heads, that's a briefing.
So the only other thing I wanted to add, and you did mention it, but there's a significant amount of work by of you and your team. As much as yesterday when we've done some remodelling on things, but yeah, significant, and the swim was working well. So thank you very much, you and the broader team, to the finance staff.
Thanks.
Yeah, they're legends, and they had auditors here in the last week while they tried to count the reports and things. So yeah, really appreciate. And I didn't say sorry about 100 times.
It was good timing that our pre-audit was last week.
Yeah.
When we were trying to finalise the agenda and that. So there was a significant weekend and hours work done. So we do appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben.
Done the job.
Okay, 9.4 is done. 9.5, drought assistance. So there's a recommendation that the report be received. due to having drought conditions and the financial impact these conditions are having on primary producers, that ratepayers are properties that have primary production, land use, and the predominant activity being undertaken is the running of business, of plant or animal cultivation, may apply for a deferral of rates until 5th of December 2025. And from the date approval of application, interest and fines will be waived up until 5th of December 2025. All legal action for any properties that have primary production land use will be suspended until after 5th of December 2025, and the CEO or their delegate be authorised to assess and where appropriate authorise the applications for the rates deferral. We have a mover, councillor Schultz. Thank you, councillor Barlow. Very close second. Second for councillor Meyer. Councillor Schultz, do you wish to speak?
Yeah, thanks, Clive, for putting that together. Thank you, lots. And I hope common sense prevails and the state government supports the proposal from the LGA SA and the Primary Producers SA. I'm sure that this proposal would do more good to farmers' mental health than some of the programs already in place.
Thank you very much. Councillor Barlow, do you wish to speak?
Through the mayor, just to reiterate what Councillor Schultz was saying, that it's a very good step forward.
And if I can just add, we did a webinar with many mayors and CEOs with the LGA to talk about that item, and a large topic of discussion moved on to the rate rebates that the Victorian government is giving councils to help actually rebate the rates rather than just kicking the can down the road. And I think it was quite a strong request from a number of mayors, including myself, that we shift a little bit into maybe not, I guess the LGA's push was, let's ask for something that we'll probably get. But our feeling was, let's ask for what will actually help first, and we'll, as a second, we'll ask for what we'll probably get. In that you never know, the government might actually see rural ratepayers and the people that produce all the food that heads to Adelaide and all the great things that our primary producers do, and give them a little bit of support and maybe look at those programs. But there is a big, there's a new commissioner, Alex Zimmerman, who actually was the commissioner of flood, and I really would like to get to some of these communities suffering and maybe have a morning tea and invite Alex Zimmerman, because if he can hear what would actually help, then we can get different packages that can support the farmers more.
I agree with that, because at least by getting out in the cold face, you hear the real story. It's not just a hypothetical thing.
Yeah, and I would like to invite him, so I'll talk to you after the meeting. We'll get up to that. Councillor Touching, people.
Just a quick comment. It would be interesting after the end of the year to know how many people actually pick this up, if it's moved and put.
We'll ask for some updates. Councillor Myers.
Just wondering, is there any advantage of declaring Mid-Murray in drought like Coorong had? Any advantage, like more money from the state, or?
I think part of that motion was because they had a special clause in their hardship policy, then that was enacted, that clause by that declaration.
Well, just wondering, why did Coorong do it?
Yeah, so their hardship policy says if there's a declaration by council, the following will occur.
Right.
So then that basically kicked on that hardship clause, special hardship clause.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Anyone wish to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And status carried. 10.1, infrastructure and field service summary report on the council agenda 15th of July be received. Do we have a mover? Councillor Schultz and then Councillor Davis. Thank you. Councillor Schultz, do you wish to speak? No. Councillor Davis? No. Anybody else wish to speak? I have questions. Councillor Barlow?
Through the mayor, just a good informative report, Dave, and it's good to see some improvements happening to some of our areas.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? Councillor McGregor and then Councillor Davis.
And just through the mayor, just a comment, there's been a bit of, discussion about damage to the playground up at, Blanchetown. And vandalism and the community were really upset and up in arms that that's happened within their community. And I believe that Dave's got the parts of I think it's the tuning sort of part, somebody undid bits of it and left it still, which is really disappointing. Yeah, but Dave's got the bits, or not Dave personally, but his team. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Davis.
Oh, just a comment that the shade sails above the playground in Morgan look fabulous.
Did you hear that, Dave? Pardon, could you repeat, please?
Fabulous, Dave.
Really sort of bad on the thing.
Fantastic.
Anybody else? Councillor Barber.
Through the media, just a response to Councillor McGregor's comment. The day that we went there to officially launch that playground, unfortunately, there was broken glass everywhere. And myself and a couple of staff members were racing around before anyone got there, picking up broken gear balls from all the softball around the playground. So unfortunately, there's been an issue right from the start.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Oh, Mira, whoever's comments it was about great report. I like that we can see lots of different things happening in different areas. Because we often hear that only one area gets, so you can see in the report, and for your team to be able to do that, Dave, on the resources that you have, I think it's amazing, and I can't wait until you've got those extra staff on board and see what your team does from there. So thank you. Okay, so if no one else wishes to speak, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? Against, that is carried. Thank you. 10.2. The time we got there, Dave. Oh, yeah, thanks. So the recommendation is the draft river structures asset management plan report on the council agenda of 15 July 2025 being received and be received again. Take a second, be received out. The draft river structures asset management submission summary report be received. Council adopts the river structures asset management plan, and the CEO be authorised to make minor amendments to the draft river structures asset management plan. Have a mover. Councillor Barber, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Yeah, sure. Councillor McGregor, thank you. I'll just get Glenn to talk before we speak on the items. Glenn, the magic asset management plan man. Thank you.
It's council's, through the chair, it's council's first asset management plan with river structures. So it's just been a huge achievement of getting it all together, putting it in one document, rather than probably several spreadsheets. And also having it valued, independently valued for appreciation, for fair value and condition assessment placed on those assets there. Also being mindful of council's budget, particularly with the renewals in there. A lot of the work's going to be done, which is capital new from June to constraints project, and that's been documented in the document throughout the plan. So there's about $1.5 million there that's expected over the next 3 years that are delivered by the state government with our input with IFS. So from there, the implementation of the assets become council's gifted assets. We've got the ongoing care and management on those. Largely they saw was due, which Department of Environment and Water saw Bowie was and Swan Reach as their priority areas to implement their infrastructure, those sites. It's what we're working on at the moment with them. Other sites on that maybe for a different stage or trance that might be available through funding. So this has nothing to do with the SAVBAC funding. This is quite separate. This is fully funded by the federal, by the state, but they get federal funding system if they still agree. So I just want to explain that there's just all of the new work is predominantly by the state government council, which has been a good win for the council.
Definitely. Yes. And we'll continue to advocate for more funding, as you all know,
Yeah.
they were here last meeting, I think it was, and we, highlighted that we have the longest stretch of river and we need more funds to make these assets, sustainable in future floods.
Through Mayor Bailey, just a comment, obviously we had a deputation earlier today. Just want to reiterate around the due constraints project, which we have been successful in tranche 1 to secure upgrades of Swan Reach boat ramp. And we have prioritised Blanchetown as the priority for tranche 2. We've secured the $100,000 to do some planning, and we haven't got money yet, but once the agreement is, we'll progress that as a priority. And we've put to due, and as you know, when they were here, we did lobby for additional funding as part of the next tranche. That Blanchetown Big Fee boat ramp is the priority for that next tranche of funding. I know it doesn't deliver it right now, but that is a commitment from the council to lobby the Department of Environment and Water. We are also able to use funding that we receive from different parties to use for SAPFAC funding as well. If it's Fed money, then potentially there's an opportunity to use that with state funding. So that would then minimise the contribution from council as well, if that was the case. So yes, we've got how many boat ramps, Dave?
We said,
Yeah, so we've got a lot of boat ramps around the region, and we are doing what we can. We acknowledge that there is opportunities to improve, and we're committed to keep working to do that with the community as well. Dave, do you want to add anything?
And can I just add, I encourage the community to, talk to your state members, because if we're looking at state funding, the more people that tell them how this is needed, that all helps us. So if we're doing it in partnership, we're likely to have good things, especially if you live in Adelaide. Apparently your vote's worth more.
Through the mayor, basically, was just going to reiterate the fact that we can actually use supplement the due funding with SAPFAC funding as well, and capitalise on the output of what we can achieve. So when we do get the due funding, we'll obviously be applying for SAPFAC as well.
If we can demonstrate the strategic priority of a facility, then it's 80-20 versus 50-50 as well. So we'll try to leverage that as well.
And we'll go fund me after that. Anybody else wish to speak on some of Councillor Boffin and then Councillor Myers?
Yeah, I need to say that when you came to talk to us at the briefing, they were very, very supportive of what we're trying to achieve. I felt they were very positive. That's what they're here for. So I felt that they were keen to partner with us more.
Yeah.
And they spent $8 million in some of the other regions and only a couple of $1 million in our region. So we've pointed that out. We continue to advocate that.
Yes, we can. Councillor Myers?
So where do we stand with the Morgan Wharf going into the future?
That's not a big
I don't think it's been turned on, Dave.
There you go.
That helps. With the Morgan Wharf, that's being assessed by the crowdfunding, the Community Recreation and Remediation Program. We submitted obviously quite a few funding applications, one at 7.4, another one at $5.2 million. All were unfortunately unsuccessful. We've lodged that through the CRARP funding through Treasury. So far, we've been to about $1.7 million, being 25% of us. We've given them all the details about the Morgan Wharf. The estimated cost of the Morgan Wharf's coming back at theoretically ballpark figure of $2.5 million. And in the submission report, it highlights that at 25% would be about $680,000, I think, as our contribution if we were to move forward on it. So Treasury are looking at that under the same funding guidelines to see whether it is actually drought related, so flooding related. And we're still waiting on the outcome from that. At this point in time, there's probably no way moving forward on Morgan Wharf unless there's any funding external coming our way.
So is there any thought given to stop it deteriorating anymore?
We've isolated it through Chair. We've isolated it at present. Again, it would be a commitment of council to actually work through that process and find out how we're going to do that. The report that comes back has actually highlighted the remediation of the revetment, which is behind the wharf, which is actually making the wharf subside. Any works that we need to do in there would actually have to go through a proper engineering and heritage process before we even touch the wharf to do any works to it. So it would be a development application and the funding to sue for council to consider.
Any further questions or comments, Councillor Davis?
Just thanking Dave and Gary, or whoever did the report, or probably Dave, both, just for changing the wording concerning the Morgan Wharf, so that made it a bit more clearer, because obviously we had a few people a bit upset, so that makes it a lot clearer. So thank you for that.
Yes, very good point. Any further questions, comments, discussions? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. Thank you. 10.3. Need to look. Take up your.
Thank you.
Don't start with that. Asking me.
Okay, we're up to 10.3.
No, I'm not talking.
Oh,
Thank you. I consider that I have a material conflict of interest for item 10.3. Pursuant to section 75 of the Local Government Act 1999, my material conflict of interest is as follows. My partner is president of the Madam Football Club, so I will leave the meeting, including any areas set aside for the public, ensuring I cannot view or hear any discussion or vote at the meeting, and will stay out of the meeting room while the matter is being discussed and voted on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have my office? So the recommendation is that the South by the River 25 request to host camping Madam Football Club report on the council agenda 15 July 2025 be received. Council approves the exemption of council's bylaw 7 of 2018 camping and mooring for the period 21 November 2025 to 23rd November 2025 inclusive to permit camping at the Mount Sporting Complex, provided that appropriate insurances are obtained by the Madam Football Club and the CO be authorised to make minor amendments to the event logistics as required. With the mover, Councillor Davis, thank you, Councillor Barber. Councillor Davis, you wish to speak? No. Councillor Barber? No. Anybody else wish to speak? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Someone please.
I think she just on the draw.
That's what she does.
Okay.
Okay.
Pause for a minute. That's awkward silence. Do you want to take, does anyone want to take 5 minutes?
Have a break.
Yes. Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, 10.4, the recommendation is South by the River 25, report on the Camping Madam Golf Club report on the council agenda of 15 July 2025 been received. Council approves an exemption to council's bylaw number 7 of 2018, camping and mooring for the period of 21 November 2025 to the 23rd of November 2025, inclusive to permit camping at the Madam Golf Club, provided that the appropriate insurances are obtained by the Madam Golf Club Incorporated. The CEO be authorised to make minor amendments to the event logistics as required. We have a mover. Councillor Barber, thank you. Councillor Davis, thank you. Anyone wish to speak on that? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour, and against, carried. Thank you. 11.1, development and community services. So the recommendation is the Development and Community Services Department quarterly report, 1 April 2025 to 30 June 25. Report on the council agenda of 15 July 2025 being received. And Councillor Myers is moving. Next year, seconder. Councillor Barber, thank you. Councillor Myers, wish to speak? No. Councillor Barber? No. Anybody else wish to speak or have questions? Councillor Schultz?
Just on the page 506 of the agenda where it gives the Madam Leisure Centre patronage, it would sort of be useful. I mean, we probably had it given to us in the past, but it would be useful to see what the Q4 was, the patronage for last year, to compare it. That's all.
Councillor Schultz?
Yep, I'd just be interested in just in a very brief idea of the kinds of illegal activities that your clients people are having to deal with. You know, in relation to, I'm assuming most of it's in relation to building works. Yeah.
It's change of use, could be illegal ports of development, you know, carports, verandas, extensions, the like.
Anybody else? Questions, comments? No, I would just like to add a very big thank you, acknowledging the team for all the work they're doing. I think it's really good for us to get that update so that we can see what's happening. And a big thank you to Gary for organising someone to do two ABC radio interviews when I was in Denver and had other things going on. And that is all. Thank you. If nobody else has any feedback or questions, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. All right, thank you. Team over there, I didn't see you guys sneaking in. Okay. 11.2, equitable access and usage policy. So we have a recommendation that the equitable access and usage policy report on the council agenda of 15th of July be received. The draft policy be endorsed for public consultation in accordance with council's policy and communication plan attached in relation to the requirements of public consultation for the draft policy. Should any submissions be received upon completion of the public consultation, a subsequent report be presented to council. But if there are no submissions, it will be adopted. And the CEO or nominee be authorised to make amendments of a minor and or technical nature as part of the finalisation of the draft equitable access and usage policy. Have we got a mover for that one? Councillor McGregor, thank you. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Myers, thank you. Councillor McGregor, do you wish to speak on that item? No. Councillor Myers, do you wish to speak? Does anybody else wish to speak? Councillor Schultz.
Just on page 518, the table in that perhaps it should be Canberra swimming pool, not just Canberra pool. Otherwise they might think it's Tatsalona or something.
Thank you. Anybody else? Questions, comments, feedback? Everyone's seen the communication plan. Is there anybody else we think it needs to go to? Have a quick look at that while you're looking at that. I've got a few comments. I think in the policy it names, you know, a number of obviously clubs, but it doesn't highlight why we picked those ones. So I'd just like to see a little bit of a change in wording that says the policy applies to the council-owned properties or something, just so that people know why we've picked out those clubs and not the rest. But also in the communication plan, I guess it says that we're going to send out to an email list of sporting clubs. But I thought that probably needs to be more targeted specifically to those clubs we've named, explaining what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how it's going to affect them, so that there's some understanding. I just don't want any misunderstandings, because we obviously need this policy to go through to get that funding. So if there's help for them to get through that and to let us know if they have any issues, or really like to get from them. Anybody else have any further comment? If not, we will put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. Thank you, and thanks team for doing that. Be great to see equitable access and lots of grants because of that. 11.3. The recommendation is that the privately funded code amendment policy report and council agenda be received. Council note and receive the submission summary report, and the policy be adopted, and the CEO or nominee be authorised to make amendments of a minor and technical nature as part of the finalisation of that policy. We have Amoeba. Councillor Barlow, thank you. A seconder. Councillor Davis. Yes, Councillor Barlow, you wish to speak on that? No. Councillor Davis, no. Anybody else wish to speak or have questions or comments? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. 11.4. The recommendation is that the dog and cat management plan 2035 to 20 from 25 to 2030, post-consultation report be received, council note and receive submission summary report, the dog and cat management plan 2025 to 30 be approved to submit to the dog and cat management board for consideration, and the CEO or nominee be authorised to make amendments of a minor and or technical nature as part of the finalisation of the dog and cat management plan 2025-2030 version 1. Do we have a mover? Councillor Myers, thank you, and a seconder, Councillor Schultz, thank you. Councillor Myers, do you wish to speak?
No.
Councillor Schultz.
So, yeah, I just thought it was good that there were some submissions received, given subject matter, and quite a few of them were actually, that I'm trying to think of, constructive.
Yeah.
And one was.
One was not.
Well, I wasn't.
Councillor Davis, did you want to say?
No.
Or a hand go up on that side? No, anyone else? Councillor Schulting.
Yeah, I just had a question about the budget expenses on page 555. The expenses are 40,000, unless I'm reading it wrongly, more than the income expected. And, I thought we're sort of trying to avoid that wherever possible, knowing that we're going to be having overspend. So I just wanted to ask for a comment on that. If I could.
I think that's changed with the full cost attribution. I did notice that when it's went to that budget report, the full cost attribution, so we might have to look at that.
Through the mayor, yes, we'll have to look at that in terms of how the cost of service is going to be looking going forward.
Yeah. Thanks. And I guess my only question was, I know there was a lot about cats, and I know that that's a problem in our region, and we've said we're waiting for the government. Do we know how long that's going to be? Is it worth us looking at something in the interim?
Through the mayor, our office has been part of that working group, and so I hope that, Mark will give us an update in relation to the work that the government is doing. A statewide response is probably a worthy consideration before we necessarily go down the path of doing something individually. And so, yeah, as soon as we know more information on what the government position would be, we'll bring that back to council.
Also knowing that we don't have the resources and that income and expenditure line, the income doesn't go up for cats and the expenditure would go up if we did anything. Any further questions or comments in relation to that report? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour, and again, strength is carried. 11.5, mid-May growth and management housing strategy. The recommendation is that the strategy post-consultation report be received, that council note and receive the engagement summary report, that council adopts the mid-May growth management and housing strategy, and that council authorises the CEO to make final amendments to the strategy for publication and submission to the federal government in line with the funding reporting requirements. We have a mover. Councillor Barber, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Switcher, thank you. Councillor Barber, wish to speak on that? No? Anybody else wish to speak on that? No, I got up bright and early. Anyone knows me knows I'm not an early person to watch the workshop, and I was really impressed by the discussions that were had and thanks to everyone that attended that. Also had lots of chats with the community, and actually one rang me last night and said, "Oh my goodness, you councillors read 1,162 pages each meeting." He could not believe the stuff that we're going through. He said, he felt like he needed to read it just to know what it felt like to be a councillor. So he thanked all of us for all of the work we're doing, reading and being informed. And I really want to thank the team for what they've done. Number one, getting the funding. Number two, the time that you put in, the listening, the dealing with the community, the helping the community understand. I think this will be a great project for Mid-Murray. And there's nothing stopping us now. He used to complain that every other council's got a growth strategy and we haven't even got that. So, now we'll have that. So thank you very much. Anybody else wish to speak or have feedback? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against? Hang on. All those in favour? And again, that is carried. Thank you. 11.6. The recommendation is that the service provision policy and service provision schedule report be received. The service provision policy and service provision schedule be adopted for 25-26, and the CEO be authorised to make amendments of a minor and or technical nature as part of the finalisation of the service provision policy and service provision schedule. We have a mover. Councillor Barber, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Waters. Do you, Councillor Barber, do you wish to speak? No. Councillor Waters? No. Councillor Tilton, speak.
Yeah, just with this as well, I'd like to say that I think it's a really good initiative. And I think it's great that we're going to have this service standard schedule. I can see how much work. I've been somewhere similar myself before, and I know how much work goes into this. It's going to be phenomenally helpful in the long run. And also it's such a strong message about accountability and putting everything out there. So well done.
Thank you. I didn't think about you when I was reading this because you sent me an email when we were in some infrastructure training saying we need this. So, yeah, so it's all happening, which is great.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions, comments, feedback, or wish to speak on the motion? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour and against, that is carried. 12.1. The recommendation is that the maritime fees and charges offsetting travel allowance report on the council agenda 15th of July 2025 be received, and the council adopts the revised fees and charges for maritime short cruises and the museum package rates, and the schedule of fees and charges be updated accordingly. How about me that item? Councillor touching the feet, we have a seconder. Thank you, Councillor McGregor. Councillor touching the feet, wish to speak? No. Councillor McGregor? No. Anybody else wish to speak? Have any comments, feedback? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? Against, that is carried, and a big thanks to Andy for doing that work so that we can match expenses to income.
And just as an aside through you, Mayor Bailey, that there's work being done on the operational guidelines to address that as well.
Thank you.
12.2, the recommendation is that the council representative on the Truro and District Community Association report be received. The council accepts Councillor Davis's resignation from the appointment as council's representative, and that Councillor Flash be appointed as council representative on the Truro and District Community Association. Would someone like to move that with a member back? Councillor Fletcher.
I'd like to move that Councillor Myers be appointed to that position if he's willing.
Thank you, Councillor Myers. Are you okay with that? That's a thumbs up. He's going to declare a conflict of interest, you see. You have to say what your conflict is.
That I've been nominated.
Yeah, material conflict.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. You can use my office. Okay, no, you're not allowed. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Barber, thank you. Does any? Anybody else wish to nominate anybody? No? Okay, Councillor Touching and Pete, would you like to speak on that? No? Councillor Barber, you wish to speak? Anybody else wish to speak? Comments, feedback? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And again, that's carried. Thank you. Congratulations, Councillor Myers, you're the new representative to the Truro District Community Association. 12.3, the recommendation is that the CEO's monthly report on a council agenda of 15 July 2025 be received. We have a mover, Councillor Barnabas, thank you. Councillor Waters, thank you. Anyone wish to speak on that? Councillor Barber.
Just through the mayor, well done, Ben, for your good work.
Yes. Wouldn't be a meeting where you didn't say that. Just copy all the papers.
Councillor Waters, anybody else wish to speak or have any questions about Ben's report? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour, against, that is carried. 12.4, the recommendation is that the motion action list report on the council agenda be received. We have a mover. Councillor George, thank you. A seconder. Councillor Schultz, thank you. Councillor George, thank you. No, Councillor Schultz, no. Anybody else wish to speak or have any questions on the motion action list? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? Against, that is carried. 13, 14.1, the recommendation is that the minutes of the Mid-Murray Council Assessment Panel Special Meeting held on 7th July 2025 report on the council agenda be received and that the minutes of the special meeting be received. We have a mover. Councillor McGregor, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Waters, thank you. Councillor Gurney, would you like to speak? No, Councillor Waters, no. Anybody else wish to speak? I have any questions, comments, feedback? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? Against, that is carried. 15.1, the recommendation is that the Mayor's monthly report on the council agenda 15th of July 2025 is received. We have a mover. Councillor Barber, thank you. Councillor Davis, thank you. Anybody wish to speak on that item? Councillor Barber.
Through the mayor, copy and paste.
Taken noted. Councillor Davis.
Just great report.
Thanks.
Well done.
And that was a bit of a cheating report. So when we were at the NGA, the very last item of the day was for us to approve a communique, and they specifically said we would really like everybody to use this as our report and then just add in what you wanted. So that's what I did. It does take me a long time to put things in writing because I process differently, but I did record every single segment that I attended. So if anybody does want to listen, apart from a few sniggers and stuff, you know, there were a few motions that were just, for me, an embarrassment to the regions. And I have put in my feedback in a survey after the fact. So yeah, if anyone is interested, I can send you any of the things to listen. Councillor McGregor.
Yep, great report too, and just wondering, have we taken the opportunity to ask the minister for a meeting? Because it would be a shame to lose like the intel from that local government and financial sustainability inquiry committee. Yeah, so have we asked, or do we need a?
There you go, it's in train.
Okay.
But I am also going to take it to the MRLGA meeting at the end of the month because I thought, well, you know, if one council can't get her here, maybe say the Murraylands or the Riverland or all of us together planned out a few days that we might get her to our whole region. I really think it's important for her to see other regions. She is one of the most down to earth ministers and she's a lot like me. She said that how it is. So she wasn't shy in getting up in front of all of the South Australian delegates and telling them that there's no way you're going to get double the funding until the pie is going to the right people. And that was very nice to hear because as you know, I've been trying to get the LGA to understand that. So being that that was their meeting that they organised, I took the point in time to thank her to the room for doing that. And I really think we've got a good minister that is going to listen. She did note that she is going to try, I don't know if I put it in my report, but that she's going to get the inquiry to go to both houses. Her and Catherine are working on that. So that will be really important because if senators understand our position, and I know personally that 3 of the 5 now SA senators understand it because all of them have sat and listened to me and looked at my spreadsheets and are, you know, on our side, so the Labor senators. So I think it'd be good if other senators get out and we might actually get some good results for regions and local government.
Simone, Mayor Bailey, sorry, and I discussed it, and we thought it was better approach from the MLGA rather than the individual. So that's it.
Thank you. Any further questions in regards to my report? If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? Yes, that is carried. 16, the recommendation is that the elected members monthly report be received. We have a mover. Councillor Myers, thank you. Councillor Waters, thank you. Anybody wishing to speak on that? Councillor Schultz.
Just a typo on mine, the 25th of June, it should be SG and EA workshop. That it's growth, not development, up in a mental aberration, sorry.
Or between you, what you meant. I want to thank everyone for bringing their reports. Hope everyone did it before my second reminder came through. Any further questions, comments in relation to any of the reports? Good job, everyone. If not, we'll put that motion up. All those in favour? And against, that is carried. 17 is motions with notice which there are nil. 18 is questions with notice which there are nil. 19 questions without notice of a specific nature. Councillor Myers.
I don't know if this is strategic or not, but when we get money put in the bank, we have an explanation with it.
Not strategic, sort of apply about, I'm assuming allowances.
Not necessarily allowances, but
Have a chat to apply these clients.
Yeah, we can check on the email remittance advice that should
Yeah.
be sent every time. Yeah, we can check.
Any further questions without notice? No, moving on. Two confidential reports, 20.1, have we got somebody to move us into confidence? Councillor Barber, thank you. Councillor Myers, thank you. Now we can close the door and turn lights off. Okay, we're back in. So the next meeting will be held at Manham Council Chambers, Adelaide Road, Manham at 9:30 AM on Tuesday, the 19th of August. I declare the meeting closed at 11:40 AM. Thank you.